Poproszono mnie, żebym mówił po angielsku, ponieważ panel będzie zaraz po angielsku, ale jeżeli ktoś chciałby porozmawiać później po polsku, możemy również spotkać się na strefie Google. All right, good afternoon, everyone. So I've been working on healthcare AI for the last 7 years as part of Google Health. We've published papers in Nature. We've run the first prospective study of medical AI in the US. And also, we've developed the first independent read medical device, which was submitted for certification, and later later licensed to a major medical device manufacturer, ICAT. Like me, you may have been hearing that for many years now that AI is about to revolutionize healthcare. However, it's hard to shake the feeling that the impact is taking longer than anticipated to materialize. A decade in, fewer than 30% of US radiologists have used AI in their clinical practice. And it's not for the lack of trying. In the US alone, we had almost 150 AI-based medical devices approved just in 2022, with many more developed in-house by some of the major healthcare organizations. When you zoom into these solutions, they do have some things in common. The industry has been focusing on tasks that are most amenable to machine learning, those with highly structured inputs, high volumes of training data available, and constrained outputs. Here's just a few modalities that my group at Google Health has developed models for over the years. But as anyone who has practiced medicine will tell you, these solutions are actually quite away from the way the real world medicine is practiced. And hasn't been the only challenge. Medical models are notoriously expensive to train, not only due to regular challenges with compute and expertise, but also scarcity of medical data and cost of labeling and antiquated regulatory processes. Even once you have a model that's approved, it's difficult to capture the value you've created. And finally, scaling this across multiple applications is frequently an onerous solution due to the long tail of healthcare applications. Moreover, labeling cases retroactively is an uphill battle, with some of our research showing shocking levels of inconsistency with with multiple interpretations of the same image by the same doctor, frequently not being in sync. So, when the generative AI took the world by storm, we saw an opportunity to rethink how we're approaching AI in healthcare. Many practitioners have been asking themselves this question: what does it mean for our work? What can be accelerated? What needs to be pivoted? And what stays the same? So I'll try to answer this question for you, and I'll talk about 3 ways in which healthcare AI from pre-generative era differs from what we can do now, and 1 thing that stays the same. The first part of the picture that I would like to paint for you is perhaps most obviously language-driven applications. Again, this talk was supposed to look beyond chatbots, so I only touch on some of the experiences that the industry is already prototyping. And these include personal health agents that allow patients to check in for a visit or exchange medical notes between the hospitals. Also, various coaching bots from nutrition all the way to psychotherapy. Automation of back office workflows that include, let's say, insurance validation and so on. And finally, expert systems that will scour through the internet and literature for the best evidence for tumor boards. However, the same approach that foundational language models apply can also be applied to non-language applications. This includes, the techniques include semi-supervision, contrastive and generative learning, and in particular, I'm going to talk about how this applies especially to imaging. So as you know, the ingredients for an AI model include data, algorithm, and compute. Normally, a lot of the training uses is done on top of non-medical image models. But you can actually allocate these resources and trade off these costs differently. So starting with pre-trained medical data can ameliorate some of the downstream costs. And this way, you end up being able to build multiple task-specific models on top of one base model, so you pay the cost only once. With task-specific models being much more lightweight and using minimal data and less compute, and those being easier to scale. At Google Health, we've built foundational imaging models for some of these modalities, and we've already seen them to bear fruit. For example, our pathology team has been developing state-of-the-art pathology task-specific models for many years now. But with this approach, building on the foundational model, they were able to match the same performance with tiny models on top of the one common foundational model, using up to just 1,000th of the same training data. Similarly, this externalizes better. For example, we got approached by a partner at the NHS. A group there has been trying to build a model for NEC, which is a debilitating complication in premature babies of their bowel. The model that they've developed on their own was, they've been struggling to develop a good model, but with this approach, they were able to get a very good quality model and are now working on implementing it. So hopefully I convinced you that both language-driven applications and the image-based foundational models are a great development in this new era. But the real magic happens when you combine the two. Look, medicine is inherently multimodal. So it's with the unique pieces of data such as image, text, and labs and genome taken into account to make most diagnoses. By aligning foundational text models, foundational image encoders in the same space, we're making the models easier to use and more flexible across a richness of applications. These models are trained on pairs of medical data and free-form text, just the way they've been acquired in the regular clinical practice. So you no longer need to worry about all this onerous, expensive labeling. And the applications are quite rich, from being able to assign images to ad hoc defined classes using natural language descriptions, through an ability to classify cases that involve simultaneously text, tabular, time series, and imaging data, image search and retrieval, for example, for educational purposes, an ability to chat with your medical image and ask questions about it, relevant to both providers and consumers of healthcare, like in this example, and even medical report generation or peer review. These combined models can produce grounded radiology reports together with a nuance and hedging typical of human notes. No more trying to guess what machine learning means when it assigns some cryptic score to your case. And with all these changes, one thing stays the same though, and it's the need for the rigor. Rigorous validation is the most important than ever. With so many moving pieces involved with the systems, their propensity to hallucinate and be convincingly wrong. Reporting an AUC on a held-out split of development data set is so 2010. And if we truly want our solutions to be adopted, we can do better, and we should do better than this, including fairness analysis of subgroups, prospective studies, and long-term monitoring of clinical outcomes. Again, my name is Marcin Sieniek. Thank you so much for your attention, and I look forward to discussing this and many more topics on the panel. And again, if you are interested in any of these topics, please check out Google's booth in front of stage 1, where I'll be available to chat some more. Thank you.